Welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen, to another session of Open Mic. Today we have another soul, ladies and gentlemen, that decided to come and brave the stage to share his views, his vision, his ideas, and hopefully a real sound plan for the district. District 6, it's your turn. We have Mr. Dion Jennings in the house tonight. He's going to join us. He's going to share his information with us, ladies and gentlemen. We want you folks who are part of his district to listen attentively. I believe he's a sound guy. He's from the district. He'll tell you all about himself in a minute. But again, you're tuning in to another program of Open Mic. Welcome, Mr. Jennings. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, and a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Great. Great to have you. Great to have you. Well, let's start off. I usually start off by asking people why, but I'll ask you to share a little bit of who you are with the people. Tell the people who you are. People are saying, yeah, I know this guy. Some say, I don't know who he is. There's some new folks in your district, in your community. Tell those people a little bit of your background, your schooling, and then we'll talk about why you're running.
Okay, well, my name, as you said, is Dion Jennings. Born and raised in Tortola at Peebles Hospital. Grew up in Bargers Bay. My parents, my mom is Ilya Pickering, one of the first, I must say, female police officers in this great country, along with Miss Barronville. She was one of the first, so she was a trailblazer, so you could see where I got my civic, upbringing from to participate in the process and try to be a positive role model inside of the community. My dad is William Jennings from Bellevue, and they migrated down to Long Look, so I got a little bit of Long Look in me as well. So that's where my fighting come from. My grandparents on my dad's side is Joseph and Catherine Jennings from Bellevue. On my mom's side is Ella Hodge Pickering from Freebottom, and my grandfather is Clifford Pickering from Bargers Bay. So you see, I have interest in all four of my constituency inside of the district. But I went to school in Bargers Bay. It was then St. Philip's School. Right now it had been renamed to Alexandrina Maduro School. And after I left there, instead of going on to high school, my parents saw it fit to entrust my education with my aunt in St. Thomas, as a lot of parents did at that time, to get a broader scope of, the Virgin Islands and the world as a whole. Graduating from Charlotte Amalie, I excelled in sports. So I was afforded a football scholarship to go to the Savannah State University, which paid for my education. So to the youths, you can use your ability to gain of interest, something of great interest to you that can benefit you later on in life. I'm an engineer. So I use my athletic ability in order to catapult me to get an engineering degree, which I got in 4.5 years, I must say. And it's very a challenging subject, as we all would know in the education system. But to say that is, after leaving high school and I went on to college, I always came home every summer. I worked at the moorings in my summer when I came home. I offload the Joan of Arc back in the days when, that boat was one of the catalysts for the community and the greater BVI. As a little boy, I offload those sodas and those biscuits and Cheetos at very dark and Bargers Bay, where it was minute to what it is now. So my heritage inside of the district runs very deep and in the whole territory as a whole. But my parents saw it fit to give me a proper education. And I use that platform now to come back and to solve and offer the experiences and the education that I've gained throughout the world to come back and do a positive contribution to this territory. And that was what we want for our kids. We want our kids to be able to see this type of thing, that it is nothing wrong with being away from the territory. But the territory is you. You are the territory, so that they can never take that from you. I'm a son of the soil, and that wouldn't change. But we have to go outside, beyond our shows, to see what the bigger world have to offer. And if it's something positive, then we could come back and contribute that to our society in order to make it better.
Great, great, awesome. I think you hit the nail on the head. Gaining that experience, that world exposure, somehow prepare you for where you are now. Why are you running? Why you decide to run with all the experience, your knowledge, engineering background? You're obviously a successful business person. Why are you running?
I'm running because I'm of the opinion that everyone that lives in a community must participate in their democratic right. And I see things that, in my humble opinion, that could be done better and that needs doing. And we live in a democracy. And therefore, we all have the chance, or we can make the choice to participate, or let your silence be acceptance. And I choose to not be silent because I think I could be a greater contributor for what I'm doing now. As an engineer and as a business person, I think as a civil servant, I think I could bring a lot of those worldly experience to the table to make sure that the district gets the thing that they deserve. I mean, we have some public facilities there that are unmanaged, and I think that is unconscionable to invest millions of dollars in these facilities and to leave them there and get dilapidated, where it costs you double to go back and fix them. I think a management team is supposed to be put into place to manage these facilities. We have drainage issues inside of the district from Bargers Bay to Puzzle. It's a gut there that comes down in Puzzle and one in Bargers Bay behind the church and the gas station there that is in dire need of need being addressed. The road infrastructure needs to continue for people can get access to their land. In that part, creating economic opportunity for others, because a contractor will build a house, he'll hire some laborers, he'll hire some young men in order to participate in that process. So the greater community, they benefit from that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I tell you, that's a mouthful. I was going to ask you about your plan, but you pretty much put some out there already, but we'll go back to that. The pool is as they say, the water is crowded. The pool is crowded. You're running against an incumbent. You're running against another member from another party, and you're running as an independent as part of that district. Why didn't you join or seek to join one of the other parties, and why are you running independent?
Well, to answer that very question, that's the heart and soul of my political campaign, is that I'm putting people first and not party. I'm going to represent the people. I'm not against either party. I've worked with both parties in the past. I've participated in the process. But in my humble opinion, I think when someone goes on the merit of themselves and the people that will support them, you go and you represent these people. And it gives you a flexibility that regardless of who is elected, the government have to be formed by 7 individuals or more. And it gives you the leverage where you don't have to put a party agenda in front of the agenda of the people. And that's my grave concern in the political process. And the pool is full, which is, I think that's a good thing, because it shows that the interests of the people that are seeing that something is wrong. Where it be no transparency, where it be whatever it may be. It shows that the interests of the people are watching the political process and they are not satisfied with that process.
Good. Let me ask you a follow-up on that then. I understand the need. I understand your position. But let's just assume you win the outcome. You're now elected to the House of Assembly, the legislative body. But you're an independent. The government is formed. How much advocacy can you put forth? How strong is your argument? And if given an opportunity, would you join a party or would you stay where you are?
In that, I believe that the voice of the people will never be silenced. And if you have and you are an advocate for the people, regardless of the formation of the government, once you carry the people agenda to the House of Assembly, you will get the heirs of the members, regardless of what they may be affiliated with party-wise. The people's voice will be heard. And once the people know you are fighting for the people, the politicians will take heed to that. And that's what I plan to do. I plan to go to the House and say the issue and shout and fight based on the part of the people. Now, the government doesn't have to be a government of one party. It could be a coalition government. It could be a makeup of independents and whatever party that may be.
Yeah.
I am of the opinion is that I will stand as an independent, but I will sit with any party to form the government. But that doesn't make me a part of that party. it makes me a part of the government. And I think that will give the country better governance, because I'll be a watchdog there irrespective of who might have the majority of seats there, because I'm representing the people's interests. And that gives me the ability, where I see criticism is need be, it will be. Because I'm coming to represent the people, and I'm going to tell the people if I'm for or against, I'll voice my opinion in the defense of the people.
Yeah, I think you said something that should be emphasized. You know, if you have to come together with any particular party to form the government, it doesn't mean you're part of the party, but part of the government.
Exactly.
And a coalition simply means that with enough voice, a person like yourself, it's not all one side. You said something that's important. It's about advocating for your constituents and the people as a whole throughout the territory. So just because you might have to be part of a party doesn't mean you're in the party. It just simply means that now you have made some decisions and everybody's going to agree and disagree. Exactly. You have some things that you believe is important to the constituency that you represent, and those things should be considered, and then you join that party for the greater good of the territory.
Exactly.
I think that's important, because most people don't understand the difference. You know, people think you have to conform.
Exactly.
But that's not the case.
I'm glad we got that clarified, because a lot of people have that opinion that you have to join the party in order to be a part of the government.
That's
and
right.
it is a grave misunderstanding.
That's right.
We
Absolutely.
will call it, we caucus together in order for us to govern the people, because at the end of the day, we all have to govern all of the people of this country. Yeah. And if you have like-minded people, not with a party agenda, I think you get better governance.
All right. Next question. Let me ask you, the district itself, it stems from Johnson Gut, slicing half of Johnson Gut, heading back towards Bellevue, down into Bargers Bay, goes over to Sophie, as far as Sophie Bay, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes.
So your area is small but still large. It has a lot of diversity in it, with different ideas, different attitudes, different people. Most of the concerns we hear about are the ones with people on the street not having enough productivity. The incumbent, and I give her a little thing on this to see how you would defend against this. She in the House advocated on several times for young people, men especially, who are lacking in their child support, you know, and she put forth some ideas to maybe look at garnishing wages rather than locking people up. What is your push? What is your plan to counter some of those issues in the district?
Well, to speak with that, I can agree in certain instances with what she is saying, because if one does not have the ability to go and earn the money to pay for his child support, incarcerating him is of disadvantage of both him and his family or his kids. I think there needs to be a system that put in place that even if you choose to have some sort of punishment levy on the individual of incarceration, that they have at least the ability to come out during the day and earn some type of money in order to pay these wages, and then maybe at, in the evening time you will hold them to the merit of the punishment. But I think they deserve the opportunity, if they are behind on their child support, they deserve the opportunity at least to come out and work to pay that debt, because incarcerating them is of no interest to them or the child. So they needs to be given the opportunity, even if they come out during the day and then they go in at night. At least they are making an effort where the government can, collect those fees and appropriate it to who's rightfully is the beneficiary.
Definitely, definitely. What about things like business development in the community? You have a business background, you have an engineering background. Tell me some of your ideas that you believe will be instrumental in moving some of the young people from the mindset of sitting on a corner and taking up the opportunities. You said that in your opening statement, utilizing whatever talent you have now, whether it's sports, whether it's the fact that you like to break into engines, and now turn that into a more productive concept. What is your plan for things like that?
I think first and foremost, we have to start with education. I think it was Malcolm X who said, education is the passport to the future, and the future will be determined by the person who prepare for it today. We got to prepare our kids for tomorrow. We can't wait to give them something now for now. We got to give them something now what they're going to be able to use in the future. And it all starts with education. We have a technical school there in the district, and I think that is of great service to the district. It needs to be broadened and expanded. I myself went through those programs when I was in school. I was an electrician before I even came out of high school, an apprentice. And that's how I got into engineering. So I think in the school system itself, it has to be some kind of system in place where prepare these kids when they come out of school in the real world, even if it's an apprenticeship program, like we just built that hospital. I think was necessary to put some system in place where it's a nursing, a technical school program inside of the school system for these kids can transition from school as an apprentice into the hospital system under somebody who's knowledgeable and capable. But at least they have a transitionary period, even though they might not be able to get the full salary. At least they're in a transitionary educational system that is paying them until they become certified, until they can become a full-scale employer. And as far as business is concerned, we have to get our young people the opportunity when they come to us and say they want to do this or they want to try something, even when they want a trade license. The more trade license in this country is better for the country because it builds a spirit of entrepreneurship. And if you don't give the person that opportunity, if you have a trade license and they're sitting for 2 or 3 years old, what service is that to the community? Give the child or the person the trade license and let them try to foster a business. If it's successful or not, at least they try. And let them keep trying because failure is not an option. And that in itself will catapult a generation because that person is going to pull somebody else with them to go ahead and do, even if they're trimming trees, if they're fixing cars, if they're fixing boats, if they're in the construction industry, if they're in the marketing, if they're selling clothes, whatever it may be. We have to make the system more conducive and more helpful to the young people when they come to aspire. And when they come to the job, for a job, you have to give them the opportunity. At least give them the opportunity to try and fail.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Opportunity, giving people jobs. You know, one of the things that's lacking is apprenticeships. It doesn't seem to be a whole lot of, I can't fault any government. What I'm faulting is the system that hasn't said to the business community, as part of your investment on a yearly basis, that entrepreneurship is important to the development and the growth of the territory. And you must take on a few. Would you push for something like that?
Absolutely. I think the drive and the mechanism of any, especially a building community, is greater as a generation that comes after. And if you don't prepare these kids, if you don't give them the opportunity to pass it, to pay it in, economic dividends or wherever it may be, then you're setting up yourself for failure later on down the road. Because the history didn't start with you and I, and it's not going to finish with you and I. So if we don't put a transitionary team in place, as I say, if I don't bring along somebody to learn my skill set and the things that I know, and it dies out with me, then where does that leave the community? So we have to embrace these youth as whatever perception you may have of them. We still have to embrace them because they are the future. And this territory survival depends on these very kids that may be on the corner. I was on the corner. I used to be on the very corner where I see these guys at, but now the people that was on the corner with me are now heavy equipment operators, owner of construction company, hair salon, machine shops, and they sit at the highest level in the civil servant. So we cannot forget now once we have came. I am living proof of that. I offloaded and I push a wheelbarrow with cement with my uncle, So I'm living proof that, look where I've came from to look where I'm at now. And I'm by no means finished. Yeah. I'm trying to get to the highest level that is afforded to me. But we have to make sure that we look back at these kids and say, you was once in these kids' shoes. And somebody gave you opportunity. Somebody gave you a chance, and then you seize that moment. And then, this is where we are now. But to speak to the sports part of it, I think we have to put great, give the sport and tourism and that industry a greater look. And I myself is living proof of it. I was in Bargosby on the rock field. And that's where my skills was. It wasn't in St. Thomas, you know. In Bargos Bay, in and Rock Field is where my skills and my talent was fostered. And when I went to St. Thomas, they recognized a little bit of ability that I had. I was the best athlete back in 1987. just a little note, you know. And people who know shout out to Marley Chicken Hearts will know that.
Yeah.
But that afforded me now to get a college education. And I took that college education and then I just developed it and went into business for myself. You know, I use the engineering as a platform, but my real love is entertainment and music. And I've done, you know, on a great living doing that. So my talents are broad. My experiences are wide. And I think that would make me a wider around the person. And I think that would help me in contributing in this country.
Well, let's look at the district in a wider scope. Obviously, Bargos Bay is your love. It's your home. We said earlier the district involves other areas, Postle, for example, Bellevue. In recent years, we've had a number of challenging situations in the area with crime. Yes. A lot of young people are engaging in crime, criminal activities. Yes. For you and I, sometimes it doesn't make sense. We have too much to gain in life, being free and trying our best, like you said, to own businesses and just try. If you fail, you keep trying. You fail, you keep trying. Yes. But crime seems to be infiltrating the neighborhoods. Yeah. What would you do to help combat some of that?
Well, one of my professors always taught me is poverty breeds crime. And if you does not find something for the young people to channel their energy towards, if they don't have, I myself, I mean, you're going to find some sort of mischief to get into. And we have to find an outlet where these young people can channel their energy in a positive way. If we don't find something, we're going to always be challenged with something malicious doing. But we have to foster these kids. It goes back to the same thing what I was saying with the community facilities. We have the gym. We have the community center there in Postle. We have to take and get more community activities and involve the youth and give them something more positive. When I grew up, we played baseball, softball, basketball. Every season we played. And I think that it's kind of have lost some of the lust. The kids don't see, you know, an outlet in that. It's not like it is you know, attractive to them. And we have to make these things attractive to the youth. So if we got a little sailing program out on the bay where they could have a little boat and learn how to sail, be a mechanic. Because they love these things, but they are not given the opportunity and the proper guidance. We have to use these facilities to bring the kids into the fold and say, hey, come man, this is interesting. This is going to be a platform for you. And you got to tap into what they like. We have to go and talk to our kids and tap into what their likes are. And then take those likes and foster it into something that could be productive in the community.
Well, that goes back to a lot of what I've been advocating, early childhood, recognizing strengths and weaknesses. From a very early age, you can almost tell a child drive in life. And I think it goes to hand in hand to some of what you're thinking. Mm-hmm. If we can get them early, yes, and foster them in a more positive environment, push their love for cars, and they could become the automobile ownership, not exactly necessarily the mechanic.
Absolutely.
Or they can own the mechanic shop where they have 3 or 4 people hired. So I think that's important. I know one of the other persons on another team, on a party, advocate for a marine school, a school where young kids, young people, and young adults can go and get first-hand training and what's driving our economy, sailing, you know, all aspect of it. We have a growing number of people in this territory from other places, yes, coming in on work permit. And we got so many young people that don't have the specialized training but are willing to learn. Yes. We're not talking about the ones who don't want to learn. We're talking about the ones who want to learn, who are looking for the opportunity, but somehow the system doesn't afford them. Would you be pushing for something like that as well?
Absolutely. And to refer back to myself, I mean, I grew up in Bargos Bay, so boating and swimming is you know, one of the things that we love. But as I go back to say, not to sound repetitious, is that we have to capitalize on the like of the youths. We know in this culture we are on you know, everywhere we are connected by water. And we know the kids, they like the boats, they like to go a little faster or whatever the case may be. We have to tap into that like, and we have to take that and be able to foster it and channel it towards something of positivity. They like cars, they like motor scooters. We have to take that and foster that and let them fix the scooters and in turn rent them back to some of the tourists that are coming to the shores. If they like cars, own a car rental. You might start with 1 Jeep and end up with 2, end up with 5, end up with 20. But we have to take the like of what they like and don't desecrate them for having something that they like and try to channel them to something what they don't, because then you ostracize them. You're not going to get them up. What an individual like is what they like. But we have to find what they like and where we can find a way to channel that into fostering a business or an opportunity for them to excel. Because everybody don't want to go and work a 9 to 5. Everybody is not good in theory. But in practicality and using their hands is great value in using your hands. But we have to take that now, take those opportunities of what we see in the child, as you say, foster that from a very young age and channel their likes, because their likes is going to be their strength. Yes. What a child like is what it is they're going to concentrate on. So we have to now identify those likes in these kids and channel it into a positive outlet for them and for the community as a whole.
Good. So it sounds like you got your work cut out for you if you're elected in the district, because a lot of what you're saying will apply in the district, and that's why you're here, you're district representative. We got about 5 minutes left. I want to ask you some yes and no answer questions. Would you support the development of the airport?
I will support I'm an engineer, so anything with development I will support, but it must be done in a transparent, in a proper manner.
Good. The fishing industry. There's been a lot of talk about fishing rights are being given away, sold to investors. Fishing is the lifeline, one of the lifeline of the BVI. For many years, you were raised up in a neighborhood that believe in fishing. Would you put legislation or advocate for legislation in place to help protect that industry for indigenous BVI landers?
Absolutely.
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 Great,
great. There's nothing like even expand on that because we'll go over our time, but yeah. Absolutely.
Yes, yes. Well, okay, well, then we got about 2 minutes left. The last is yours. Look into the camera. Tell the people of the 6th District who you are again, why you believe is essential that you be given an opportunity and not the other two to represent their interests.
Well, first I will say thanks for the opportunity and thanks for having me here. And it was my pleasure. But for the people of the 6th District, if you honor me with supporting you in the next House of Assembly, I guarantee you I'll be a stalwart advocate in fighting for the things that are important in the district, the dilapidated infrastructure, management of the public facilities, addressing the sewage and water drainage issues in the 6th District, making the district a lot more community-oriented like when I grew up. Bringing back that family network of everybody helping each other, creating job opportunities for the youths and for the business people inside of the community, developing our marine sector, fighting for the road networks in the district where we can all get access to our properties, so we can give it off to our kids or our family members, thus creating economic opportunity for all. But I want to thank you for at least giving me an opportunity to visit you in your homes, your houses, and talking to you inside of the community. And I hope that you look upon my name as one of the names that you will give your X to in this upcoming election. And thank you all, and God bless you, and God bless the beautiful islands.
Awesome, awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching another segment of the Open Mic Show. Again, that was Mr. Dion Jennings. He's an independent candidate running in the 6th District. He's asking for your vote. So if you feel he's worthy of your vote and you want to send him to the next House of Assembly, the choice is yours. On June 8, 2015 is the election. So make up your mind. I'm sure many of you have already, but if you haven't, you had another opportunity to hear independently, one-on-one, without all the noise and not a lot of big billboards, one-on-one, what the candidates each have to offer. So again, thank you so much for tuning in.